This is a day in my life as a software engineer making 6 figures a year. I don't have a college degree. I wasn't a good student in school. If I can do it, you can do it too. And if you watch this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how I got my first job, how to grow in your career, as well as show you what it's like working as a full-time software engineer. Hope you enjoy. I start off most of my days, if the weather is good, taking my dog Nancy for a morning walk. I always try to get sunshine as early as possible, and definitely before I have caffeine. You notice this white cat following me and Nancy around. His name is Blue. I don't know about any of you guys, but this is the only cat that I know of that likes going for walks. So once we get in from our walk, I'll brush my teeth and then have myself a cold glass of tea with creatine in it. I usually do about 3 scoops. There's some research suggesting it helps with brain functionality. And then I'll get my backpack and laptop ready, put it by the door so I don't forget it. And then today, YouTube suggested a SpaceX rocket launch, so that's what I watched as I was drinking my tea, warming up for the day. I live about 30 minutes from the office. I go into the office 3 days a week, work from home 2 days a week. Today's a work from the office day, so I'm excited to get to show you guys that. I won't get to show you too much of the office, but I'll get to give you a couple peeks.
I don't think I know enough about. I think that just
So when I got into the office, the first thing I looked into was an issue with one of our servers that our development environments are on. It was an issue that came up yesterday, and the team that maintains that didn't have the bandwidth to look into it. So as a staff software engineer, I fill the gaps and help teams out when they need it. So I was happy to step in and look into that. I didn't have it fixed to this point, but by the end of the day, we did get it fixed.
Yes.
Is it 301?
Oh, it's a 302.
It should be a 302. It should not be a problem.
So this meeting I'm in now is around releasing a new product. We are migrating our monolithic PHP website into an SPA, which stands for single page application. It's a lot faster and more performant. After that meeting, I did some more work on that server, and then I took my lunch break until it was time for another meeting.
Well, good job.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the ads work. I don't know if they run off of the sitemap or what. Yeah, we know that we made enough of a mat whenever we replaced search. And it was missing one little thing. So let me look at this epic you put in here, Jacob.
This meeting I'm in now is helping the team that's migrating PHP site to an SPA plan their next sprint. We work in 2-week sprint cycles, which means all the work that we need to get done, we make sure that we plan enough work for the whole team to get it done in 2 weeks. And at the end of that sprint, we evaluate how much work we got done in order to inform ourselves on how much work we can take on in the future sprints. This method is traditionally called Agile. If you want to learn more about that, you can just look up Agile Software Development. It's just a methodology to plan software engineering work in a productive way.
Get started on the content API, because it would be nice to give them an idea of what it's going to look like. We could do both in parallel.
So now's a good time, while this meeting is running in the background, to talk about how I got my first software development role. Like I said at the beginning, I never went to college. I wasn't really a smart person, but just one day I decided I wonder if I could teach myself how to code. And so I looked up some tutorials on YouTube and started learning, and it just piqued my interest and my brain hooked onto it. So after about 2 years of casually teaching myself how to code, doing little side projects, doing tons of tutorials online, I decided it was time to actively start looking for a job. It was extremely difficult and daunting as someone who had only worked in restaurants before, dropped out of college, to think about working in an office with what I thought were a bunch of smart people. And so I started applying to a bunch of jobs. One of the jobs I applied to, I didn't even realize what it was, but it was to a recruiting firm, which is a company that makes money by placing software engineers in businesses. These companies get paid by the employer, not the employee that's placed, so you should never have to pay somebody to get a job. This will bring me to my next topic, which is what I expected the people that I worked with to be like, and imposter syndrome, or the absolute fear you get whenever working in a job you feel like you don't deserve.
And then that was says we're supposed to. Yeah, we don't have to get inside your head from can't.
But once I got home, I took Nancy for her afternoon walk, gave her a treat, and then came back inside and changed into my workout clothes. I try to run a couple times a week. I signed up for an Ultimate Frisbee League, which is one of those days of running, and so these other runs are a type of recovery run. I give Nancy her dinner. She won't eat if I'm not home, so I don't even bother feeding her breakfast. And then next you'll see me creating my own little hydration mix, which is flavored water with 0 sugar, salt, and then potassium and magnesium templates. It's just a ton of electrolytes to prepare for my run. Next, Nancy was feeling rambunctious, so we played around in the living room for a little bit before my run. All right, so the type of people I thought I would work with in a software engineering job was like the typical hipster in a coffee shop with a MacBook, hacking away on code with a terminal and a bunch of words just flying across the screen. But that wasn't at all what it actually was. There's all kinds of people in the software development role. There's jocks, there's nerds, there's moms, there's dads, there's church people, all kinds of people, just like in any other part of your life. So that was super surprising. Maybe that's just a me thing. Maybe I'm just a little prejudiced. But yeah, that was surprising to me, that there's just all kinds of different types of people that work in software development. So now you'll see me at my home office. I'm doing some freelance work. A couple years ago, I started a business called Infacto Digital, helping small business owners with their websites and their marketing. Lately, since the release of AI and the popularity of AI tools, I've kind of shifted to helping small business owners use AI in their business by educating them and building AI workflows. But that's enough about this. I wanted to talk about imposter syndrome, which, if you've never had it, it's the feeling of not belonging, feeling like you're not smart enough for a job. I remember in my first couple months in my first job, I was just riddled with anxiety. The constant voice in the back of my head saying, everyone's talking about you, everyone knows you're not smart, you're gonna get fired next week. And while some of that anxiety is good because it pushes you, it makes you want to be your best and do your best, it really isn't healthy. And I think it creeps up in more than just our professional lives. How many times have you been in a social situation and thought, oh, they don't want to talk to me or hang out with me because I'm not good enough? And so while I can't really speak to the personal life aspect of imposter syndrome, I can definitely talk about it in your professional life. For me, I got over imposter syndrome when I started to prove to myself that I could do it. And I think proving to myself I could do it by solving hard problems, by constantly writing code, constantly reading about code and learning about code, it gave me a lot more confidence. And eventually, when you do enough work that gives yourself confidence, other people will notice and they will get confidence in you. And there's no better feeling than other people having confidence in your abilities to do work. I remember in my first interview, I was scared to death. It was a bunch of technical questions about PHP, about servers, Apache, and Nginx. And I had to do a lot of studying for my next interview because I just absolutely botched my first one. And so if you were a good studier in school, you can treat interviews just like a test. I was a horrible studier in school. I wasn't interested in tests or passing tests. But when it came to my career, making more money and getting to write code for a living and not going home drenched in sweat, smelling like grease, it really put a fire under me to study and get better. So I found my drive to study for interviews. And I think I did 4 interviews that my recruiter placed me in before I got my first job. I remember there was 3 developers. I had a really good team lead. He taught me a lot, kind of took me under his wing. I was at that job about 1.5 years before I got my current job. And I remember an added confidence in that second job interview because I had already proven to myself and my peers that I could solve any problem. I remember instinctively saying in the interview, and I firmly did believe this, that it doesn't matter what the problem is in the software, I can figure it out. And the only reason I was able to say that confidently is because I had done it before. I had proven it to myself, and that proof was just enforced by other people saying that to me. So in my current role, I started as a mid-level software engineer. I eventually became a senior software engineer after I had proven my ability to solve problems and lead people and teach people. Then I became a tech lead, which is kind of just a team lead. There's a manager of teams, and then there's a tech lead who leads the team from a technical perspective, helps them grow and helps teach them. And then eventually I grew to a staff software engineer, which is quite a bit different. I'm not on a specific team or work on a specific part of our website, but I bounce around to a lot of projects depending on business objectives. One day I'll be working on the mobile app, helping the team figure out how to authenticate in the mobile app. And then the next day I'll be helping a team write workers in Golang. And then after that, working on a server configuration or Kubernetes or writing React. It really is a lot of bouncing around, but you get to become a staff software engineer after you've proven you can go in and learn anything as long as it pertains to what you're already used to learning, which is how to meet business objectives with code. And in my case, that just means selling more things, making things fast, making things reliable. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. If this was helpful, I would love a comment. Do you have a software engineering role now? Or how many interviews have you done? I'd love to hear about your experience. And if you are another software engineer experienced in the IT world, I'd love to hear your story. I'm sure other people would love to hear your story too. All right, thank you all for watching. Looks like I'm gonna go to bed now.